that politicians are becoming vulnerable to constant accusations in the wake of the fight against illegal mining?
I think that the matters to do with the dumping, Pepper Chief, and the gory pictures we've all seen, they should be investigated. The police have to investigate it. It's as simple as that. In a democratic world, when these things happen, just as it is for all other crimes, the police has to investigate them and bring out the facts and the evidence, and then we'll deal with that. That's the way I see it, because even from where I sit, I've heard conflicting reports. Some say it was as a result of chieftaincy dispute. Some also seem to make the suggestion you've made. Some even say that it was a motor accident, So you have all kinds of claims. But when these things happen, the right thing to do is to investigate. So let's hold on for the police to conclude with their investigations. Yeah. Yes, the deputy minister, but that is a straightforward matter. The rule of this business is evidence, because Awuni, I hope you agree with me that here I am with this microphone speaking live on national TV. I could just make a very damning allegation against you that you are this and that and that. It cannot in itself without more hold. And I think we should all be interested in that. Unfortunately, political people, those of us who venture into public life and venture into policy positions, we are so vulnerable and we get punched all the time.
Awula Serwah, coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana, has joined us on Zoom. Awula, thank you so much for your time. Now, what do you make of what is happening? I mean, there's been accusation and counter-accusation, and then this coming at the back of it. What do you make of that?
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. I think that the situation is quite serious, and investigations need to be conducted. Allegations have been made, and we thank God that the gentleman is still alive. But investigations need to be conducted as a matter of extreme urgency so that we can ascertain the truth of the allegations, and the persons responsible for this dastardly act should be arrested, prosecuted, and hopefully convicted of the offenses they have committed. The fight against Galamsey is assuming so many dangerous proportions, and it really needs to be nipped in the bud.
The minister says that we should not limit it to just allegations. We should ensure that people come forth with evidence so that some people can be tied down to the sort of things that they are doing, allegedly doing in the sector. What do you make of that as well from the minister?
I mean, the rule of law, obviously, we don't just run with allegations. We need evidence. But I believe that there have been eyewitnesses. So what the police need to do is to do a thorough investigation. Evidence will never fall into your laps. You need to do some investigation and get to the root of the matter. Because if people who speak out against Galamsey, their parents' homes are torched and their relatives are, seriously assaulted, who is going to speak out against Galamsey? As we speak, people have spoken out against Galamsey. Some very high-level persons have been involved, and we can't see that anything is being done. I know the media coalition against Galamsey has called for the arrest of Chairman Wontumi for, committing so many offenses and for being in the forest reserve. And I don't know what is happening to that. But until people can see that highly placed persons who are alleged to be involved are being investigated to ascertain the truth of the allegations, the fight against Galamsey will not be deemed to be a very serious one.
Now, the minister gave a report that today we still have the military embarking on the Operation Hall to ensure that more illegal small-scale miners are arrested. We've done this over the past 6 years, 7, 8 years. We've not really had the desired results. What do you think should happen, even when we still keep the military on the ground to help in the fight against Galamsey?
I think that we had results in the past. I believe that immediately we need to halt or have a pause on community mining. There needs to be a pause. And there should be no stepping into forest reserves. No ifs, no buts. I didn't hear that. There are no exceptional circumstances. A forest reserve is a forest reserve. It is there for a purpose. For heaven's sake, no mining, no prospecting. Why do people do prospecting? Is it to write a book? You do prospecting to find out if there are valuable minerals you can exploit and make money. So why would anybody allow prospecting in a forest reserve? So the magic words I wanted to hear today, which I didn't hear, was no mining whatsoever, no ifs, no buts in forest reserves, and then a pause on community mining until we get our act together, because obviously we haven't got our act together. And of course, we should all realize that even where people have licenses, does that mean they're not breaking the law? If you have a driving license, does that mean that you do everything as you should do? Of course not. So even with those who have licenses to mine, is anybody watching that they are not close to the waterbeds? Is anybody watching what they are doing? Or do we just issue them with licenses and go to sleep? We really need to wake up. And all officials who have been sleeping on the job should be held accountable.
Awula, we have some large-scale mining companies which are operating in forest here in the country. Shouldn't we rather be asking for the authorities in charge of ensuring that they regulate the sector to be effective in regulation than to say no at all when there's that possibility for large-scale miners to be working in forest? Again, let me state that the law does not allow small-scale mining or miners to have access to the forest. Large-scale mining can. So it's not about asking the authorities to be more effective with ensuring that the right things are done.
The authorities should be effective. There's no doubt about that. But I'm also making a point that not every forest is a forest reserve. There are forest reserves, there are protected forest reserves, and they are there for a reason. And therefore, if we are serious about illegal mining, let's be clear that nobody should be giving any entry into forest reserves. So it is very disappointing that the the Forestry Commission, whose mandate is to protect our forests for unborn generation, should actually say in a letter that has been circulated on the internet that they had no objections into entry into a forest reserve for the purposes of mining. They actually said we have no objection to mining. We're not objecting to mining, but we are saying that there should be no mining in forest reserves because the forests are our lungs. If we're going to allow mining in forest reserves, we're going to be sowing a lot of trouble for ourselves. We can already see the results. And we know that why I was talking about the community mining having a pause, we obviously don't have our act together. We can't monitor. And therefore, if we want to have some restoration, let's have a pause and let's reflect. Let's see how we can get our the EPA, Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission to get their act together before we decide whether or not it's a wise thing to do. And as I've said, even those who have legal licenses to be engaged in mining, they need to be monitored to ensure that they are abiding by the law. Because the fact that they have licenses doesn't mean that they are not breaking any laws and that the EPA is monitoring. The situation is dire and serious steps need to be taken.
I'm grateful. Awula Serwah is the coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens, GH. Now let's still stay in the natural resources arena because the Minister for Land and Natural Resources says the Forestry Commission is investigating circumstances under which Akunta Mining Company Limited, a mining firm linked to the Ashanti region chairman of the governing MPP, Bernard Enchibo Siakon, entered the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve to mine. According to him, the government believes in the rule of law and will therefore ensure that the laws governing the land is effectively applied to ensure Galamsey activities are dealt with. He spoke in an exclusive interview with my colleague, Emefa Apau.
Chairman Wuntumi's case is being investigated by the Forestry Commission. The Office of Special Prosecutor is also investigating aspects of it. We have to await the report of these. How
long does the Forestry Commission have to investigate?
I hope soon, and on a bit. I hope very soon in these matters. And then when it is all said and done, and we have the facts and we have the evidence on our table, we will take the consequential decisions and move forward. I think we'll examine all of them and we'll take it from there.
Now, the Fix the Country activist Oliver Barker-Vormawor says the state is unnecessarily delaying his trial. He's charged with treason felony after making